Hello everyone. So in this session, which is how to approach NEET-UG 2024 exam, our motto is to help you by discussing some strategies. If you apply those strategies in the exam hall, the actual examination day, I hope it will be beneficial for you. Okay, so let's start. Before going to the actual discussion, it is important to mention that though we are discussing some tips and tricks and strategies, but remember these NEET UG exam pointers that we are providing to you people, that is the NEET exam aspirants, our intention is to help you so that you people can excel in the NEET exam. But at the end of the day, it is important that you use your own judgment, because all of you are studying in different environment, you are taking preparation in different situations, and candidate to candidate there is difference in psychology also. So after all, it depends on you, but still we'll discuss this strategy so that you get benefited by these strategies. Okay, so let's have a quick look the syllabus. So our focus is mainly on the subject chemistry, and if we look at the syllabus for chemistry, there is total three branches: physical chemistry, inorganic chemistry, and organic chemistry. So this is the syllabus, and in this syllabus, if we want to focus on the more important chapters, then look at this. Okay, before that we will also see these deleted chapters. So these chapters are not there, probably all of you know this, but still I have mentioned it so that you just be aware of this fact. So next we will see what are the important units in the chemistry. So under physical chemistry, as you can see, atomic structure, chemical bonding, molecular structure, then thermodynamics, very important, solution, colligative properties, electrochemistry. And under inorganic chemistry, basically you will see most of the chapters are there. Only the periodic table related chapters that is not mentioned here. Otherwise this is very important. Then P block elements, variety types of questions are possible, and those questions are very scoring also. And under organic chemistry, this is the base of, before starting organic chemistry, you just have to know this GOC, that is the general organic chemistry, which is basically the chapters, some basic principles of organic chemistry, that is same as general organic chemistry. Then hydrocarbons, organic, that is alkene, alkyne, alkane. Organic also benzene. Organic compounds containing halogens, that is alkyl halide, haloalkane, haloarine. Organic compounds containing oxygen, that is ketone, carboxylic acid, those compounds, right? So here we have these important units in chemistry. Next we will have a look in the some questions, that is some sample questions which are from section A and section B, so that you can understand what is the difference between these two sections. So when it is we are talking about section A, the primary difference is, you will see in section B the questions you have to think more, so it is little comparatively more complex. Okay, so in section A, as you can see this question, which is match list 1 with list 2, and here you have to choose the correct, that is after matching you have to choose the correct answer. One more sample question from section A. This is straightforward. It is asking that in this lasagne extract of organic compound where both nitrogen and sulfur are present, which gives blood red color because of formation of which compound. So this is straightforward question, right? But if you look at the questions of sample, that is section B, sample question, here two questions are given on balancing the redox reaction. Some unknown variables are there, A, B, C. So you have to find this coefficient A, B, C, whether it is 2, 3, 4, whatever, and you have to choose that from these options. So basically what you have to do, it is not directly asking that you balance the equation, but it is asking you to find a coefficient which is indirectly, which is the same thing as if it is asking to balance the equation, but it is not directly mentioned. So that is why I am saying it is a little not direct question, like as you have seen in case of section A. Then one more question from section B. Identify the final product D. So before reaching the final product, you have to know that from CH3CHO what is A, and after these different reagents mentioned on the arrow, what is B, then what is C, then only you can understand what will be D. So before reaching to the answer D, you just have to know what is A, what is B, what is C. So 3 to 4 steps you just have to follow, and then you can reach to D. So that is why again you can understand, compared to section A where it is as if the questions are directly asking something, here it is a little bit different, right? So that is the difference between these two section questions for chemistry. Now we will go to the tips that you can maintain when you are answering the chemistry question. So here we have the first tip. Order of choosing different sections of chemistry. We know that there are 3 branches: physical, inorganic, organic. Now here the suggested order is inorganic chemistry first, because it is the best scoring part. Just think about the P block or a periodic table question. So mostly the questions you will see it is direct, and it is the best scoring part if you compare with the other section, because directly it is asked based on the concepts directly, and also memory based. So when it is memory based question, you don't have to solve anything, or you don't have to write any steps and then you find the answer. It is not like that. It is straightforward comparatively. Now when we talk about organic chemistry, it requires fundamental understanding and knowledge of mechanism. So you have to just consider the previous question A, B, C, D. So you have to know the mechanism and what is the product, what type of reagent will give you what product. So all these fundamental understanding and knowledge. Fundamental understanding is basically the GOC, general organic chemistry, and knowledge of mechanism. These are required. But here you will not get numericals. Hardly you will get some numericals. I am not saying there is no numericals possible from organic chemistry, but that is rare. So here mostly the general organic chemistry you have to be very strong, because that will help you to answer question from the other chapters also. GOC is as if the pillar, it is a base. So knowledge of mechanism, fundamental understanding. But when we talk about physical chemistry, it requires knowledge of theory, and also you have to know calculations, you have to know formulas, unit conversion, everything is there. So that is why it requires more time. So this is the reason that the suggested order is like this. But again, it is important to know that it all depends on which part you are comfortable with, or which part you can answer first, and that depends on you. Nobody can take that decision from you, only you can understand that. So keep faith in yourself and just decide, try to understand which part you are more comfortable. And the best way you can decide it by practicing some mock tests. So first, suppose you are trying inorganic first, then organic, physical. That is, just follow this order. If you are finding that it is suitable for you, it is fine. But if you think that you are more comfortable in physical, you prefer to do calculation formulas, then you can go for physical. Then you can do another mock test where you can change the order. So just try to understand which order you are comfortable with. But here we are giving the suggested order and based on these logics, right? Go to the tips 2. Read question carefully. When you are reading a question very well and you have understood the question, then it is as if you have already solved the question, as if it is half solved. To understand the question, to read the question carefully with focus. So this is the first thing when you are facing a question, right? Now, if the question is numerical, if it is not numerical, it is okay. But if it is numerical, especially if it is a difficult one, if there are so many steps, suppose from one step you will get one answer, and then that answer you have to apply in some other step. So step by step, when it is that is a concept of steps are high, then it is better if you write all the given data, values, conditions in your rough sheet. Why it is important? Because when you are seeing something in front of your eyes, obviously that is more helpful than your mental imagination, right? So that's how our brain works. So that is why if you are having the visual representation, you will be easily, you can grasp the question, and it is better than the whatever you are imagining mentally. So mental representation that is visual representation is better than mental representation. So that is why if you write, just jot down all the informations that are given. So when everything is in front of your eyes, you can take decision carefully, right? So read the question very well and try to understand it well. If numerical, write all the data given, that is whatever is given in the rough work sheet. Time management. There will be 180 questions, right? And 200 minutes to solve them. Now, out of 180 question, at least 140 question will be theory based or simple numerical, and that is from section A. Now, this is basically I am saying based on overall, that is 180 question. You can separate it, that is you can divide it in by 4, then part it will be remember 35 plus 10 from section B. So it is 35 all that you have to do from section A, and out of 15 you just have to solve 10. So it is basically 45. So you can divide it according to chemistry. But overall, if we say out of 180, at least 140 question will be theory based or simple numerical, and 40 question will be comparatively challenging. So one examples we have already seen, that is how are the questions from section A and section B. So for section B, it is you have to think more. It is comparatively complex. So now what you have to do if you consider time management? Again, I am saying this is I am doing for overall, that is the all the physics, chemistry, everything, but you can divide it for chemistry. Now, when we are considering each question, tentative maximum timing for each question around half minute for as if the section A. Remember, it is tentative because it is not that always it will be 140. It is around 140. So if you spend half minute, there will be 70 minutes, right, for easier questions, and you can spend 3 minutes around for section B, that is the 3 into 40, right? So now it will be 120 minutes. Now it is not I am saying section A or section B. Overall, if you see simple numerical questions, which is mostly from section A, and comparatively challenging question which is from section B, but there may be sometime also in section A. But whatever it is, just think about as if there are some simple questions which is around 140, and there are some little complex question which is around 40. So if you spend 3 minutes, it is around 120 minutes for the tough questions. Now if you add these two time, that is 70 plus 120, it is 190. Now still you have 10 minutes extra, right? Now these 10 minutes, though it is still there, but still try to maintain this format. Why it is important? Because sometimes you need to come back to some questions which you have left, which you are not sure about. So for those unsure questions that you have left, for which you have to come back, this 10 minutes is obviously required, right? So in this way you can manage the time. Next tip is leave uncertain questions at first. So you have to solve the question with which you are 100% sure and leave the uncertain ones. And there is always the opportunity that once you finish the easy questions that with which you are sure about, always you can come back and to the questions that you have left. So once you finish the questions with which you are completely sure, then only you can come back to those questions that you have left, right? Solving the questions that you are sure about in the least time, it will obviously enable you to solve other difficult questions in more time. And not just that, it will also boost your confidence. When you know that you have already solved some questions within 1 hour or whatever, it will obviously, you will be feeling more confident. And that feeling of confidence will assist you to solve the difficult questions in more time. But remember, beware of leaving aside too many questions unanswered. That is also simultaneously you have to keep in mind, right? Next is re-evaluate the answer. Now at a first glance it may seem that it is wastage of time, right? That I have to solve other questions, why I will re-evaluate the answer. But it is especially important for those answers, especially where you are solving some numericals, you are handling some data, you are doing some unit conversion. So what happens, there is a chance of silly mistake, right? To safeguard the answer is correct, you should recheck and recalculate it at least twice, taking into consideration of the time as well. Now why it is important? Because sometimes it may happen you are doing some silly mistake just because you are not second time you are rechecking it. But what will happen, that you will lose some marks because of this wrong calculation or because of some silly mistake. Even after knowing the concept, even after knowing the how to solve the question, suppose you know that, but because of this silly mistake you cannot afford to lose marks, right? So that is why rechecking, especially for numerical questions, whether you have done the unit conversion properly or calculation, that is very very important, right? So when you are doing the mock test, try to apply this strategy also, so that you will also be able to understand in the mock test how much extra time you are taking to re-evaluate the answer. Okay. Tip 6 is don't stick to one question for too long. It is true that re-evaluating the answer is essential, or not just re-evaluating. Suppose you are feeling that you can solve the question, but still you are not getting the question how to solve it. So not just for evaluation, even if you are thinking that you can solve it but still you are not doing so, you are not able to do so, it is important that you don't stick to this for too long. So as I have also mentioned, how much time you should spend, you have to keep in mind that also. So it is important not to waste time on one question alone, and that is the reason also that the easier question you have to solve first, that we have discussed in another tip, and then you can go for the questions with which you need more time. If you find any question difficult, don't spend time on that question and leave it, so that you can come back again at the end, right? This is very important. Avoid negative marking. Now it is important because as if when you avoid some negative marking, you are actually gaining a mark. That is same as gaining a mark, right? So that is the reason why you should consider it. You need to look at the question and be able to decide what you should do with that question. Now you have, what options you have? You have three options. Either you go for it, then with which you are completely sure. You can leave it completely, that okay, I can do it, fine. Another option is you can return back, that is you are not for the time being you are not sure, but you are thinking that with some time spent, or if you do some steps you will be able to do, or if you write some mechanism you will be able to do. So to return back if time permits. So three options you have. That is the first decision you have to take when you are facing a question. You can go for it, you can leave it completely, or you can come back if you have that confidence that if I write the mechanism, if I write the steps, I will be able to do so. So these are the three things that you can do when you are facing a question. Now you should have clarity to decide it properly, that whether you will go for it, you will leave it, or you will come back to it. To decide it properly, you should have clarity on what you know, what is your strength, which chapters are your strength, and what you do not know, that also you should have clarity. So it is not that you know that these chapters I am not comfortable with, so this is your, don't think in that way that it is your weakness or what. Everyone has some chapters with which they are weak, that is completely normal. But you should have that clarity, which are your strength, which chapters are your strength, with which you are more confident, which you are not very confident, or your preparation is not very good. If you have that clarity, only then you can decide whether to go for it, leave it, or return back, right? So this clarity is very very important. And this clarity will obviously come only when you are doing so many mock tests. Then you will be able to understand. So these are my strength, these are my weakness. So if you are just mentally imagining it, I will suggest you just write it on some paper. Which chapters you are comfortable with, which chapters you are not comfortable with, because that will help you to choose question, whether you will go for some question or you will not go for that question. It is not that all the questions you have to do correctly. It is equally important that even if you are not doing all the question, if you are not attempting every question, but whatever you are doing it correct, because avoiding negative marking is actually a mark gained. Silly mistakes you have to avoid. So the probable silly mistake when it happens, if you are not reading the question well, so that we have discussed in tip 2, remember, read question carefully. So if you are not reading the question carefully, if you are in a hurry, if you are thinking that I have to go to the next question, when you are reading a question, your focus should be only on that question. So misinterpretation of question, that is maybe a silly mistake you can do. So read question carefully. Wrong answer marked. So in a hurry, if you are marking OMR sheet a wrong answer, you cannot change it, because OMR sheet you cannot change it. So that you have to take care of. And whenever you are sure about any question, directly put it in the answer sheet. Do not write it in the rough sheet. That in the rough sheet you are writing all the answers, that for question 1 it is option 1, for question 2 it is option 3. Don't do this. Directly write in the OMR sheet. Don't leave it at the end, for the end of the exam, right? Then calculation mistake. So that is why I am saying that you should write all the data in the rough work, so that you, and do the rough work clearly. If you are not doing the rough work clearly, it is not neat and clean, there is a chance of calculation. And whenever you are doing the rough work, suppose you are solving question number 5, then do the rough work clearly and then finish it, draw a line. And for the another question, suppose question number 10, then it is clearly. Now what I am saying so, because if you are having some time left, if you want to come back to that question, then you can start the question from that point. But if you are not doing the rough work clearly and you are coming back to that question, so I have left up to 3 steps and now I will go to the 4th step. So easily you can start from the 4th step. You don't have to do again all these 3 steps. So that is it is important. If you are doing some rough work, do it clearly. Then wrong formula used. If you have used some wrong formula, if you are in a hurry, if you have not practiced it well, then this is another chance. So these are the probable reasons for silly mistakes that you have to avoid. And also remember, for avoiding the calculation mistake and also to solve question, especially for numericals, do the rough work in a very neat and clean way, so that if you are coming back to that question, you can start from that point where you have left. You don't have to do it again from the first initial steps, right? Now the last tip, it is applicable only in some special cases. Choosing the correct option in some special cases. So these are some strategies that you can apply when you are choosing some questions. So sometimes you can think about a correct answer by do not looking at the available options, because sometimes the options, there is a chance of misleading. So just look at the question and read it carefully without looking at the options. Though it is not applicable for all questions, in sometimes just think about it without looking at the options, so that it is not misleading. Then not distracted by this given alternative. This way it can help in some questions. Then in some cases you can eliminate some options about which you are sure. So suppose there are total 4 options, right? 4 options. You clearly know that these 2 options are not possible at all. Now you can choose between these 2. Or another thing may also happen, that you are sure that all these 3 are wrong. All these 3 are wrong. Now only one is left. That must be correct, because only a single correct choice, right? So sometimes it is a very good way to choose options, that eliminating some options about which you are sure, you can reach the correct one, right? So this is possible in some cases. So whenever you are reading a question, you are thinking, oh, I do not know the answer, don't be tensed. Just look at the options. If you are seeing that, oh, these 3 options not possible at all, so that is also another way to reach to the correct option. And I have also seen some questions where applying this strategy, actually you can reach to the correct answer. Never do guesswork with all the 4 options together. So sometimes you are tempted to do guesswork, right? But don't try to do guesswork when all the options are unknown, that is you are not sure about any of the options, sometimes what happens, you know two options are not correct, then two options are left. Among these two you can take the chance of guessing, but if you are guessing with all the four options together, that is not a very good idea, right? So at least try to eliminate one or two options, obviously two options better, before guessing, to reduce the probability of negative marking. So if you are guessing with all the four options together, obviously the chance that you will choose some negative wrong answer and ultimately it will lead to negative marking, that probability is very high. Okay. A good way of solving some related question is to look at the options and decide which one fits in the question. Now this is only, that is the last step, it is only for numericals. So suppose some wavelength you have to find and it is visible range. Now when you are looking at the options, you can understand that these wavelengths are not possible in this range, or suppose any X-ray or whatever. So that is a way to understand that it is not fitting your answer, though you are not solving it. But in this way, if you think, if you apply this strategy, that which one is actually fitting your answer, is it possible? Or suppose some concentration or some unknown value you have to find, but the options that are given, the value is very high value or very low value, which is not possible for this particular answer. So that is also another way that when you have understood that it is not fitting your answer, though you have not solved it or you do not know it, then also this is another way that you can choose the correct option. Okay. So these are the different ways, but only in some special cases. It is not that in general you can apply this for any questions. It is only in some special cases, right? So choosing the correct option in special cases. So that's all in today's session. I wish all the very best for your exam. Keep faith in yourself and whatever time is left for you, smart workly, and again wish you all the best.